done in this area, the most important underpinning concept is notions of teacher professional learning as something which is a continuum, which begins in pre-service teacher education, moves through early career teaching and continues for a whole career. And the ways that we've thought about teacher professional learning in the past have sometimes been incredibly rich and sometimes been rather more problematic and often been fragmented. So I'm thinking, and my practices as a teacher educator and as a researcher are interested in exploring that notion of how do teachers learn, how do they develop, how does that relate to their identity as teachers, particularly English teachers, literature teachers, and how can we promote and support that so that that learning that they should be doing throughout their career is something that meets their needs and meets the needs of the students whom they will be teaching. So in relation to the kinds of issues that we've been talking about in the symposium the last couple of days, I think that's really important for students who are going to be teachers to understand that to understand that notion of learning as something which they are experiencing and that their students will be experiencing in quite different ways. To understand that their experience of learning is not the only experience of learning. To realise that one of the most important aspects of teaching is to understand that the world is a very diverse place. What works for me doesn't necessarily work for others. What's been powerful or important for me isn't necessarily the most important thing in the world. But the notion of professional learning that underpins my work, driven by people like Mikhail Bakhtin and Lev Vygotsky, and notions of dialogic notions of language, is that teachers will benefit most in terms of their own learning to understand that all knowledge is a combination of, if you like, what Bakhtin says, half somebody else's words and half some of our own words. So that we need to be able to find ways of learning from others, of learning with others, learning through our relationships with others, and sometimes that's colleagues and sometimes that's students.